Soros-free talk with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. Doghouse Bar and Grill, Augusta Chamber of Commerce, and Ruthie's Family Restaurant. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
This spring into savings with Johnson Heating and Cooling. Rebates up to $600 off a complete HVAC system. And here's the deal. Purchase a complete system and get a free humidifier. Plus, financing available up to 0% for 60 months. Don't miss out. These offers expire June 30th. Visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com. That's johnson-heatingandcooling.com. Johnson Heating and Cooling. Your comfort, our priority.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Yes, good morning, my friends, and happy Wednesday to all of you, or good afternoon, I should say. Good afternoon this afternoon. This is the Three Martini Lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Common Sense Radio, as we also like to call it. Hope you got a beautiful day out there. Couldn't be better for all the plants getting all that soaking and then the sunshine coming out, and they're all so happy, and so are we. You know what? I have a different. Oh, by the way, dry hump day. All right, buddy. So I don't know whether you guys are up to date on the latest on the would-be assassin, the Kamala Harris donor Cole Allen, and this guy was not only evil, but he's a dork, too. So it's like, I guess you can be both. So the guy is, first of all, on the train from California to the D.C. area there. And all along the way, he's like writing poetry about the desert and the forests of Pennsylvania, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with poetry, obviously. I love writing it, but I mean, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Aside from being, I mean, and that's what I think is really interesting about some people on the left, is they're serpent-like. The snake in the Jungle Book. They're kind of like that guy. Is it Ka? The snake in the Jungle Book. as always so alluring and always so trying to be so peaceful as he tries to get Mowgli in his grasp, and they always kind of come across as these kind of nice, open, wonderful people, and they're really what they're doing is they're seething inside. Their anger is so amazing because what they think about is they think about themselves as being so virtuous, right? They care about feeding children. Once they're out of the womb, once they're in the womb, they're anybody's quarry. You can do whatever you want with them. But once they're out of the womb, yeah, we just feed the children, even though they're busy opening borders and trafficking them. But that's the duality of the left, which is so interesting because they seem to be so alluring. It's almost like it really is satanic to a certain degree, even though James Carville is the one now calling President Trump the Antichrist. But, in the Bible, there's always, the devil's always trying to kind of be alluring and pleasant and, playing little games here and there. And that's kind of what they do. It's so weird. Talking to somebody who was complaining about the fact that I've been so fiery about attaching this guy to the Democrats and like, wow, that's really, you're kind of over the top. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I know I should be apologizing to you for the 3 assassination attempts on our president. I'll continue to say prayers for you. I know you're hurt over this, so I should just keep my mouth shut, right? So anyway, then the guy gets to the hotel and he is taking selfies of himself in the mirror. And he's dressed like John Wick. So he's got this red tie on. I'm not kidding you. I mean, did you see these pictures? And he's got, wire cutters in his pocket. And apparently, I don't know why he needed wire cutters, or he wanted to kind of look like a tech guy, or I have no idea what this was about. And then it turns out that I just can't figure this out, by the way. Apparently, one of the people took like 5 shots at him, didn't hit him. And it might have been because he tripped and fell. The reason why he was on the ground is because he tripped and fell. He tripped. and actually, that might have saved his life and might be the reason why the person shooting at him it missed so often, because they were shooting and he hit the ground because he tripped. I mean, heaven forbid, though, had this been like a whole gang of terrorists or attackers, and there were like 7 of them armed. I mean, everybody would be dead in that ballroom. This was really such a close call. It's unbelievable. So we'll kind of get into that a little bit more, and we also, of course, have the specter. I don't know whether you guys have been following the life and times of Brandon Gill. Congressman Brandon Gill. Brandon Gill is pretty amazing, and I've got a bunch of Brandon Gill porn for you that I'm going to lay on you in just a little bit. Rick Pogue is going to be joining us. Stephen Moore, if we are lucky, more money here on News Talk STL on the weekends. But, of course, as you know, he is also very prolifically present on Fox News and Newsmax and beyond, and he's a former advisor to President Trump. So we will see how he goes. So yesterday actually turned out, as much as I make fun and call him King Big Ears and King Vitamin, and I make fun of the royal family and express my continued bitterness about the Revolutionary War, I've changed my mind a little bit after watching what happened yesterday and the true significance of what happened yesterday with King Charles here. Again, I don't really have any fetish for the royal family. Never really did get into all that stuff. But if you take all that away and your snarkiness over the royal family, you see this as technically a state visit. And you heard the British journalist yesterday, Alex Phillips, who was basically saying that we need to get our act together over here because we actually don't want to see what's happening over there in terms of violence, whatever. And they're being colonized by radical Muslims and everything else. And now I'm seeing Valerie Jarrett on TV talking to the king, and I'm puking just a little bit in my mouth over the sight of her. But anyway, back to the fun part. So this seems to be a partnership, I think, that is valuable and will be valuable symbolically. And I really kind of appreciated it and didn't mind really the pomp and circumstances around it all. And, you know, because it was kind of nice after all of the tempest that we experienced over the weekend. And it was really weird because a weekend after the third attempted assassination of President Trump, there he is, wandering around with the king and their wives and having state dinners and exchanging gifts and everything else. I mean, hell, if I got to hand it to the king, he got a bunch of Democrats to basically stand up and applaud him. These are all No Kings protesters, right, who stood up and gave him a standing ovation. You know?
To thank the American people for welcoming us to the United States to mark this semi-quincentennial year of the Declaration of Independence.
Well, and as I said yesterday, I think it's even groovier that President Trump, I mean, at this stage, President Trump can do anything. If you can get the King of England to come over to the United States to celebrate the fact that we kicked their butt in the Revolutionary War, that's a pretty good achievement, don't you think? And I don't know who the king at the time was. Oh, there's Mamdani too. I don't know whether or not there's still any of that Revolutionary War king's blood in his veins. I have no idea. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's a pretty much of an achievement for him anyway. For
all of that time.
The Democrats all clapping for a king. They love kings. And there's a standing ovation for the kings.
Aren't you lucky?
Yeah, we love kings. I mean, tomorrow we won't, but for now we love kings. Yeah, pretty crazy. And what was even better about the whole day, and this drove all of the idiots on the left nuts. The White House puts out an X post, and it shows President Trump and King Charles, 111th, as 11 him, Omar would call him. It shows King Charles and Donald Trump standing together, and the cut line is two kings. And everybody went crazy over it. They all got so mad over it all, and it was just the ultimate troll, which was really pretty great. Then, of course, you go into the garden. A lot of this was so surreal. They went into the garden. They went into where they saw the beehive that apparently was arranged for the garden by Melania. And they're all standing there and looking at the beehive. And then suddenly, a bee lands in the hand of President Trump. And actually, it's interesting because the bee landed in the hand of President Trump, and there's a still photo of Melania kind of like, oh, I hope he doesn't, sting. They're all looking. Charles and Camilla are all going, a bee just landed in Trump's hand, in his palm of his hand. And President Trump is just standing there, and he's looking at it, and the bee doesn't sting him, doesn't do anything, and he doesn't like flinch. And then there's one other meme out there, a little close up of the bee, and people trying to figure out why the bee didn't sting the president. But he was unflappable. It was weird. He's like looking at it, and actually, his face is kind of the same face that he put on for that mugshot down in Georgia. Remember that kind of defiant look? And so he's looking at the bee in his hand and kind of staring it down like, yeah, don't you sting me, And so there's a close-up meme that's out there, and it has the bee with a "Make America Great Again" hat on. So yesterday was kind of, I think it was nice because I feel like we kind of needed that kind of day. It was nice, and it was just kind of a way to breathe a little bit. And so I kind of set aside all of my anti-royal feelings and embraced it, and it wasn't half bad. And then what happened is the king gave President Trump this amazing gift, and it was a bell off of the HMS Trump, which apparently from 1944. So there was actually a ship that played a big part in the execution of the war in the Pacific, and it was a British submarine, I believe it was. If I'm wrong, let me know. Correct me, please. But anyway, the bell itself came from the HMS Trump. It was called the HMS Trump, and it was a beautiful bell, 1944 on it, and the king presented it to him, and it was really kind of cool. I mean, really pretty fantastic. It was an outstanding gift. I don't know if you know where they managed to find that thing, but it was a great gift. So it was kind of it was pretty nice overall. So I was happy about it, and everybody looked so good, and the wives were all dressed so smartly and beautifully, and it just kind of like worked out really, really well. So I was very, very happy about all that. And coming up, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do some Brandon Gill porn. Yeah. Brandon Gill is amazing. You know what? I can actually see him as President of the United States someday. Brandon Gill, congressman. Oh, he lays this abortion supporter out, but there's more where that comes from just in the past 2 months, for crying out loud. Plus, Rick Pogue is going to be joining us, and we have some news about the kinds of cars that some SNAP recipients are driving. When you hear it, you're like, this can't be true, can it? And it's like, oh, yeah, it is. It's like, wow, that's crazy. So you're in the right place. This is News Talk STL, the Allman Report, Common Sense Radio, number one in the martini slot for you. And then we get on to the rest of the 3 martini lunch.
Goodness knows, 'cause you're my honey, honey. Flowers droop inside when you're passing by, and I know the reason why. You're perfection, goodness knows, and you're my honey, honey, honey. Don't buy sugar, you just have to touch my cup. You're my sugar, so sweet when you stir it up.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
and listen anytime, anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hanson's Tree Service. So you've been able to experience and see a few things in your yard and your midst after the storms that we've had over the past couple of days. And this is where you really put the trees to the test. This is where you saw exactly what they're made of. And so let's say you have some branches in your yard after the high winds from Monday and yesterday, even for that matter, or maybe you even have a tree leaning or whatever. You need Hanson's Tree Service to come out, clean it up, get it taken care of, deadwood and prune, because where you see one branch on your lawn, there are more on the way because your tree is stressed. It was a really rough winter, and it was a really rough summer before that, and it was a really rough winter before that, and it could be a rough summer now. So these trees have a hard time with this, and so you need to make sure they are healthy. Hanson's Tree Service will take care of it for you. We're also getting into that wonderful gardening season, and you all are spending a lot of time outdoors and getting stuff all together. Mulch is king right now. Time to spread it all around, and Hanson's Tree Service has all kinds of different styles of mulch for you, all kinds of different colors as well, and you can order it online, and they will deliver it lickety-splickety to your driveway or wherever you want it dropped off, and you can spread it to your heart's delight. They have red mulch, which I really do love the red mulch. But they've got the brown, the black, and different kind of cuts and blades of it as well. Some people like the thicker, brickier kind, and other people like the thinner stuff. So it doesn't matter. Any style you want, they have. And don't forget also about the Magic Bean. A lot of you are doing your planting and things like that. I started a little earlier this year, but a lot of you are doing your planting. Maybe you were planting some brand new shrubs or doing whatever. The Magic Bean is a composting mixture that will grow your veggies, your flowers, your bushes in ways that you can't even imagine. I named it the Magic Bean. That's the name I put on it. And even though Jeff was like, the late, great Jeff Hansen was like, I don't know, I don't think we can call it magic, can we? Yeah, you can. It's a Magic Bean composting mixture, and you can order that online as well. I'll never forget back in the day, 20 years ago, when Hanson's Tree Service was still supporting Common Sense Radio as well, Dave MacArthur from MacArthur's Bakery showed off his sunflowers, and some people like to grow sunflowers. That Magic Bean, it'll be like Jack and the Beanstalk in about 2 months with the Magic Bean. Check it out, hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colonies.
Sweet, I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 636-486-7888.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Spring weather has everyone sneezing, even inside their home or building. Instead of saying Gesundheit, call Wellington Environmental to perform air tests to determine if mold levels are too high. Gesundheit is the same as saying bless you after someone sneezes, the German word meaning wishing you good health. Wellington Environmental can perform air testing that is simple, fast, and can identify issues keeping you from having good health. Wellington does the same for hospitals and nursing homes for indoor concerns. Give them a call. It's simple. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. Tell Cindy, I need air sampling. They've seen it all. They can help you. Next time you hear Gesundheit, think Wellington. Wellington Environmental. Be well with Wellington.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
During the shooting at the Correspondents' Dinner, one reporter hiding under a table said, I hope they kill the MFer. She was talking about Trump. Tennessee Congressman Ogles tells that story and says a woman was hoping when she quit hiding, she would stand up and see Trump dead. He did not name the reporter nor her company. You can claim the Republican just made up the story, but there are things you cannot deny. The far left has been attacking Trump verbally and literally for 11 years, 3 documented assassination attempts. Granted, this shooter didn't even get in the room, but his 1,000-word manifesto made it clear what he wanted to do. Illinois Governor Pritzker says, everything I've said about Trump trying to destroy our democracy has proven true. He was on CNN. No one asked, where's your proof? CNN's latest documentary is being rescheduled, titled Imperial Presidency. And then how do you explain the offer of the left-wing radical who owns a brewery in Wisconsin? He is promising free beer all day long on the day Trump dies. Kill the president, get free beer.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. The Allman Report, sponsored by Gulf Shores Restaurant.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Julie Matthews says, Mom thinks Brandon Gill has Superman hair. With his curls, LOL. Yeah. I don't know. He just came out of nowhere, you know. A long time ago. A lot of you are obviously familiar with it, I'm sure, but and it's not like I've been playing his snippets for a while now, but he's really good and he's really tough, and he is locked down, and he takes zero prisoners when he is talking to people. I'll play you in a little bit one of my his dealings with Jack Smith, and he just dismantles this guy. And I he's not very, like, I don't see him on a lot of television shows and stuff. I'm not quite sure why. I've even reached out to his office before, and he doesn't really, and maybe you guys have, but I don't see him out there a whole lot, which is interesting. It's an interesting aspect of his personality and career, is I don't really see him, like, he's not constantly on Fox News, or he's not like kind of a publicity hound or anything else. But I think his performance in hearings and things like that really kind of speak for themselves. But I've been kind of watching him and seeing how he's operating here, and he's got some pretty good, solid leadership skills here. And this guy, I don't know. He could go far, and I hope he does. So anyway, he's talking to this chick, Jessica Waters, and she is like one of these kind of, for lack of a better term, an abortion activist of some sort. And the radical left really loves this Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. And there was a hearing about this particular act. And Jessica Waters, who is an assistant professor of justice, law, and criminology, and a so-called vocal advocate for abortion access. And so Brandon Gill, it might appear that he's making small talk here, but no, it's not. He's asking her some very pointed questions.
You're an advocate for abortion, for abortion policy. What's your favorite type of abortion?
I am an advocate for patients having access to the full realm of reproductive health care.
But do you have a preferred method of abortion that you like?
I do not.
Let me read through a couple different methods, and I want to get your take on how much you like these. The first type is called a suction abortion. This is when the cervix is dilated, and a strong suction, 29 times the power of a household vacuum cleaner, tears the baby's body apart and sucks it through the hose into a container. Do you prefer that method?
I stand by my former testimony.
That sounds kind of gross, doesn't it? Sounds pretty gruesome. Do you agree? It does to me.
I stand by how I answered your question fully and accurately.
Okay, what about this one? This one is called dilation and curettage. After dilation of the cervix, a sharp looped knife is inserted into the uterus. The baby's body is cut into pieces and extracted, often by suction. Do you prefer that method?
What I believe we are here to talk about today is the FACE Act. We are not here to talk about
I'm asking
the
you, you're a
legality of
pro-abortion
abortion.
advocate. I'm asking if you prefer the
access to
dilation and curettage method.
I am a access to reproductive health care advocate.
You don't want to talk about abortion itself. Why is that?
I would prefer to talk about the reason that the committee called the hearing.
Is it because it's uncomfortable to talk about?
I would prefer
It should be uncomfortable.
I would prefer, if you would let me finish my statement, to talk about the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act.
Yeah, well, apparently she believes that she sets the topic for the hearing, and Brandon Gill is giving her quite the lesson in how she does not set the topic for the hearing. And he clearly states here, he says, well, you're an abortion advocate, but you don't want to talk about abortion. And I'm just trying to ask you, you want access to it, but you don't really want to talk about abortion itself. And she's claiming somehow she just wants to talk about the act itself. So Brandon Gill, by the way, you know, his father-in-law is Dinesh D'Souza. So his wife is Dinesh D'Souza's daughter, which is pretty cool. He's 32 years old. He's the youngest member of Congress. His district is there, Dallas-Fort Worth area there. And he is a former investment banker and all this kind of stuff. But he's 32 years old. He's the youngest member of Congress.
We're talking about what that access gets. How about this one? It's called dilation and evacuation. Forceps are inserted into the uterus, grabbing and twisting the baby's body to dismember him or her. If the head is too large, it must be crushed in order to remove it. Do you prefer that method?
I would prefer to talk about the reason the hearing was called and the basis of my expert testimony.
It's uncomfortable to hear this, isn't it? It is. I think it is, because it's barbaric and evil. How about this one? It's called the saline injection. It's when a 20% salt solution is injected through the mother's abdomen into the baby's amniotic fluid. The baby's skin is burned off. The baby ingests the solution and dies of salt poisoning, dehydration, and hemorrhaging of the brain. Do you prefer that method?
I would prefer to talk about the subject of the hearing.
This is the subject of the hearing. This is about protests outside of abortion clinics. I'm asking you about abortion.
I stand by my prior testimony.
Okay. I wouldn't want to talk about this either if I were you, because it is barbaric and evil.
Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. And the great thing about that is that you rarely have a chance. And I sometimes think that elected politicians will rarely take the chance, right, to ask somebody who is an abortion supporter and talk to them about actually the processes of abortion, the multiple different ways they do it. And while it might not be completely relevant to the question at hand about the FACE Act, it's absolutely relevant because this is a discussion about abortion. And so many people don't want to have that discussion. And I promise you, and one of the great things that Congressman Gill is achieving here is, to tell you the truth, I didn't know about a couple of these abortion approaches. I did not know. And it's so interesting, the reality of how that darkness in terms of our information hole is what sometimes I would imagine would keep people from fighting abortion or from doing everything they can to prevent it. And I'm not talking about jailing women. I'm not talking about all these, uterine, all these kinds of things like that. What I'm talking about is there's a way to be pro-life and proactive in defending life, but by shedding light on how bad this is. And so maybe at some point there might be a woman out there who is considering having an abortion and saying, you know what? No, instead I'm going to have the baby, but I'm going to put the baby up for adoption. Or I'm going to go to a place that helps young mothers. I'm going to go to Our Lady's Inn or something like that, because once you kind of know, because I guarantee you there are also people who have abortions who also who have had abortions but don't even know what happened to the baby. Like, they just go in, and I mean, there's not somebody who sits there and walks them through every little ounce of the approach to it. So this kind of really uncomfortable detail is really incredible and necessary. This isn't just Brandon Gill harassing this woman. He's doing babies a favor, is what he's doing. This is his confrontation with Jack Smith. Now, Jack Smith is an evil punk and prosecutor and thought he was all that when he was going after President Trump. This is Brandon Gill asking him about his approaches in terms of trying to find out where people were at and all these kinds of things. And some of it even involved checking out people's travels.
23, you also issued subpoenas for toll records of 9 U.S. senators and an additional representative. Is that right?
In May of 23, we did issue...
You did, and there were non-disclosure orders in conjunction with those subpoenas as well.
This guy, Jack Smith, should be in prison because that's what they were doing, is he was utilizing this toll record thing. They were all investigating all this kind of stuff because they were going after, you talk about now all this, Donald Trump is retribution, it's revenge, blah, 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 blah. These guys were doing it for 4 years. Under the Biden administration, Jack Smith was investigating Republican senators and Republican congresspeople, and Brandon Gill's calling him out on it because he was trying to keep people from seeing what he was doing.
Well, right.
That's correct, consistent with department policy and the law.
So again, nobody would know what you were doing. The senators would, and the representatives would, and the American people wouldn't know what you were doing. Is that right?
The toll records that we secured and the non-disclosure orders were consistent with policy and consistent.
And you knew whenever you were doing that there was a risk you were violating the speech or debate clause. Is that right?
The toll record subpoenas that we secured were with the concurrence of the public integrity.
Your own analysis says that you knew there was a risk you were violating the speech or debate clause. I have it right here. This is an email from John Keller at Public Integrity Section to your team. As you are aware, quote, as you are aware, there is some litigation risk regarding whether compelled disclosure of toll records of a member's legislative calls violates the speech or debate clause in the D.C. Circuit. That's from your own analysis right there. So you did know, didn't you?
Sir, with respect to the item you just put up on the screen, the last sentence states...
we're going to get to the last sentence.
Okay.
We're going to get to the last sentence. And you cite case law in here, quote, the bar on compelled disclosure is absolute. Is that right? Or do you think that you didn't have to abide by that precedent?
To be clear, this statement is not from my office. This is the statement of public integrity.
This is your justification for those subpoenas and NDOs that you ordered. This was part of your analysis. It's a cursory analysis. I think it's worth noting. But let's get to that last sentence then. Quote, given my understanding of the low likelihood that any of the members listed below would be charged, the litigation risk should be minimal here. In other words, you're using a novel legal theory, which you knew was novel, has never been tested by any court. You're not charging any of these members. Nobody's going to know about it because you issued NDOs. Nobody's going to sue this, so who cares? We're going to do it anyways. I mean, you walked all over the Constitution throughout this entire process.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's time is expired.
Spying on members of Congress, and you know it. It's absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah. And, you know, Brandon Gill isn't even a lawyer. He's a former investment banker. You wouldn't know it by the way he talks and he reasons, and by the way he asks questions. It's pretty amazing.
Pay reparations?
I have never said that, sir.
Yes, you did. You said it in January of 2020. You tweeted.
This is him talking to the head of the PBS.
Yes, the North. Yes, all of us. Yes, America. Yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt. Yes, reparations. Yes, on this day.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweet. I think the white people...
Sure is. That was him in a moment of levity. Here he is in a rare moment where he's actually kind of just giving a speech with a bunch of people. I usually only see him at the hearing level, but yeah.
Democrat policy is in fact based on flooding American communities with hostile foreigners, putting their interests above the interests of the American people, and weaponizing them politically for electoral gain. It's absolutely grotesque, and yet we deal with it every single day. So
yeah, good for him. That's him calling out our open borders policies. And this is him. This is during the whole Somali fraud thing and talking about the Somali population.
Headed households are on welfare in general.
I don't know.
It's 81%. What about, let me just ask you, after 10 years of being in the United States, what percentage of Somali immigrant households continue to be on welfare?
I don't know.
The number is 78%. Percentage of Somali-headed households are on welfare in general.
I don't know. Yeah, this is him talking about some guy who's advocating for more refugees in this country, especially from Somalia. So I'd like to see him get a hold of 11 Ham Omar, Congresswoman 11 Ham Omar. I'm sorry. You guys are listening to Common Sense Radio. You're listening to the Allman Report, News Talk, STL.
.19 and 94.1 News Talk STL, live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway, really so happy to be a member of the Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are great people, and I just enjoy doing real estate with them. I enjoy being part of a team that is so great at getting you into your dream home, making sure everything works out, getting the best price for you, following up after the contract is signed, and making sure everything is great, inspections and beyond. When it comes to selling homes, we do a great job with that too. We pull out all the stops and we make sure that on a number of different levels, you are going to get the highest price for your house. So we'll do the drone pictures. We'll just dress it up super nicely. And our goal is basically to have people fight over it. Because when people fight over your home and you're selling your home, you're getting the best price. And that's what we do. There's no bad time to put your home on the market with the Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Don't miss a baseball showdown at Busch Stadium when Shohei Ohtani and the LA Dodgers roll into the Lou, May 1st through the 3rd. Kick off the weekend with Friday Night Live and a must-have short-sleeve hoodie giveaway. Saturday brings a Mason Wynn bobblehead celebrating his Gold Glove Award. Then Sunday features a sleek blade collar shirt giveaway. Big names, big matchups, and big giveaways all weekend long. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotion.
This is Mason Wynn. Get your tickets at cardinals.com.
The 1-2, and that's grounded up the middle. Diving play, Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws, he got him!
What's up, Cardinals fans? Mason Wynn here. On Saturday, May 2nd, when we face the Dodgers, you can take home the Mason Wynn Gold Glove bobblehead, presented by the Shane Company. It's got my chain, my first gold glove, my whole look, just how I rock it. Plus, a few rare all-gold baubles will be randomly mixed in for 500 lucky fans. This is one you won't want to miss. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you one way or another how super important it is for you to make sure you get a good night's sleep. And the mantra here, especially from my guys at the Clayton Sleep Institute, is better sleep and better life. And that's exactly what I am talking about, people. Here's the deal. You got to make sure that when it comes to insomnia, that you're not using all of these varieties of types of drugs and things like that people do. There are a million ways that people try to get a good night's sleep, and sometimes that is through having the extra scotch, or maybe even at some situation where you're just having the sleeping pills and that kind of thing. That's not any way to live. And Dr. Ojal and his team will teach you all of the different ways that you can relax yourself, all the things that you may be doing before you sleep that are causing the sleep problems, that are causing the restlessness. Sometimes even there's a way to stave off the restless leg syndrome. Believe it or not, some people are being woken up by their own arms and legs. This is how it goes, happens all the time. And they also deal with pediatric sleep problems. And, of course, sleep apnea also is something important for you to fix, because not only is it really super annoying and invasive to the people who are next to you in bed, but it also is dangerous for you. Your breathing is stopping multiple times during the nighttime. You're waking up after 8 hours of sleep, but you're tired. You're getting fat, too, because your metabolism is slowing down because it knows you're not sleeping, and it's trying to store up as much energy as it can, so it's storing everything you're eating. That happens, too. Weight gain's a big part of sleep apnea as well. So get it fixed. They have the sleep clinics, which are really super comfortable for you as well, or you can just go for the consultation. But this guy, Joe Ojal, known worldwide as a sleep expert, but everybody there is just like Joe. ClaytonSleep.com. That's ClaytonSleep.com.
Colombo and Company.
Just over 2 weeks to go in the 2026 legislative session, and we'll go live to Jeff City Wednesday for the latest from Missouri political insider Rodney Boyd. Plus, we'll open closest cabinet.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL. The Allman Report, sponsored by Newsteaders Fine Jewelry.
We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore like we used to do. We don't laugh anymore. What was all of it for? Ooh, we don't talk anymore like we used to.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch. Jamie Allman here and Ashland over there. Charlie Puth, I saw an interview with him. Ashland, are you familiar with Charlie? Saw an interview with him on Jimmy Kimmel. It was just like a little video that came across on Facebook. And apparently Charlie Puth has perfect pitch. Like he can imitate any sound, and Kimmel was like hitting a pencil on a cup or something, on a glass, and Puth could basically just mimic that sound. It's pretty crazy. I really don't know. I love music. I'm fascinated by people who perform it. I'm fascinated by people who play instruments. It's really one of the true life secrets to me is how people pull that off. And so I was fascinated by the whole thing, but I didn't know that about him. But it's really, and he's had it since like he was a little kid or something. So. It's pretty amazing. He's an amazing artist. Speaking of Jimmy Kimmel, all right. So here's the deal. I'm not a fan of the FCC intervening in Disney or ABC or whatever. I think it starts from the fact that I don't actually think the FCC should even exist. The FCC has become basically a barterer, a favor place for certain companies, and that's why we have so many companies that, so many few companies that own so much. And it's because of a favored status, and that's how it all goes. I mean, I even hearken back to the old days when it actually was a desire to please the FCC in some kind of merger and licensing thing that helped cost me my job. So the FCC, in its initial, creation, was more along the lines of a decency monitor and all that kind of stuff. Since that time, though, it has become a place where larger and larger media companies curry favor and then get these licenses and all that kind of stuff. And it should be a totally free market. And the FCC is an agency that has basically outlived its usefulness in any way, shape, or form. I mean, you could see that by what happened with Brendan Carr. And I talked about this yesterday with the Nexstar merger that was going to affect a couple of stations here in St. Louis as well. And that really became a real problem because Brendan Carr manipulated certain elements of this merger talk, and it didn't go through the proper channels. And it was all because Trump and Brendan Carr wanted Nexstar because they were supposedly conservative, whatever. That's not the way to do it. It's why a judge came in and said no and stopped it. And it probably will never happen at this point. Now, similarly, when you look at, if you go back in time and look at the history of the FCC has also been a suffocator of new technology in favor of existing technology. And this will blow your mind, and you can prove it just by looking it up. We would probably have had cell phones back in the 70s had it not been for the FCC. They had cell phone technology post-World War II. And we didn't get it until, the 90s? Because the FCC was managing signals, and that's how they manage frequencies and all this kind of stuff. So there are a lot of things that were suffocated that we never saw because of the FCC. So I certainly don't want them dictating who stays on the air and who doesn't stay on the air, or licenses. There shouldn't even be that whole situation with the licenses as it is. And certainly I hate what Kimmel said. I think he's going to pay for it in the end, and he should in the public square. But I'm not comfortable with the FCC being used in this fashion, because I guarantee you someday, in some form or another, it'll be used against us. And that just is, and I don't think the FCC ought to be weaponized for anybody in any way, shape, or form, and probably should actually be abolished. But that's just how it's been going. But look it up. See what the FCC has done to varieties of technologies and things like that that took 20, maybe even 30 years longer to come our way, because the FCC was gatekeeping and managing and all that kind of stuff. They were kind of like akin to the Strait of Hormuz. You had to get through, you had to pay the piper, you know what I'm saying? All right, coming up, the great Rick Pogue, as well as a special guest who is part of the support of free, common sense, conservative radio. That's what it's all about, people. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I want to share something with you. Cooking a pizza using coal creates an amazing pizza. Only one place to get it: Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. Of course, they offer a wide variety of pasta, but you just visit the website napolistl.com, dine in or take out, and get ready for patio season. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield Valley. Try it. You can thank me later.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. 2 Jewish men have been stabbed and injured in London in what police are calling an act of terrorism. Prime Minister Keir Starmer lamenting a rise in anti-Semitism in the UK as he addressed lawmakers in the House of Commons.
It is deeply concerning to everyone in this House. There is now a police investigation, and I think we all need to do everything we can to support that investigation and be absolutely clear in our determination to deal with any of these offences.
Authorities have arrested a 45-year-old man on suspicion of attempted murder. New Yorkers gathering outside the 9/11 Memorial and Museum on the expected arrival of King Charles and Queen Camilla.
Security is tight here at Ground Zero, where the royal visit kicks off in New York City. King Charles and Queen Camilla will pay their respects at the 9/11 Memorial this afternoon and meet with first responders and victims' families. Later, King Charles will be in Harlem visiting a nonprofit community organization, and Camilla will be at the New York Public Library for a literature event, gifting a Roo doll from Winnie the Pooh to the library's collection.
That is Julie Walker reporting. A federal appeals court has ruled the administration cannot jail illegal immigrants without the chance to seek bond.
Since last year, the Department of Homeland Security has been denying bond hearings to immigrants arrested across the country, including those with no criminal history. In a unanimous ruling, a panel of the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New York City cited serious constitutional questions related to that policy, saying it would otherwise be the broadest mass detention without bond mandate in American history.
That is Greg Cluxton reporting. Big changes coming for OPEC. United Arab Emirates today saying it will leave the oil cartel. The Gulf government there long complained that the group's quotas are unfairly limiting its exports. More of these stories at townhall.com.
I talked to a lot of great companies. Very few of them actually literally surprised me, but Fellowship Home Loans sure did. For over 20 years, Mike and Brian and the team there have been helping families do something most people think is more complicated than it has to be. Get into a home, lower their rate, or tap into equity they didn't even realize they had. Everything at Fellowship is done in-house. One roof, one great team, all with a servant-led mentality. From your first phone call to closing, you're going to get people who know you by name. They'll know your situation. They treat you like family. They're also offering a free mortgage checkup right now. Don't miss out. Rates are lower now than if you purchased or refinanced your home in the last few years. Many Fellowship customers are saving hundreds of dollars a month when refinancing, and there are no payments for 2 months. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Clouds will be on the increase this afternoon with temperatures in the mid-60s. It looks like partly cloudy skies, becoming a little cloudy by this evening. Overnight lows in the 40s tonight. It's going to be a chilly start to your Thursday, and we'll see a couple of spot showers late in the day into Thursday night, but most of the day dry. The high 67. Looks like pleasant temperatures right through the weekend. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm KMOV meteorologist Kent Earhart.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airwaves for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Buddy Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Democracy is loud, and on Tuesday, June 2nd, you can be right in the middle of it. News Talk STL is bringing the St. Charles County Executive Primary Debate to Lindenwood University in St. Charles at the J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts. No reservations, no tickets, just show up. Can't make it in person? Catch every word live on News Talk STL from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The St. Charles County Executive Primary Debate on June 2nd. Brought to you by the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee, Mid-Rivers News Magazine, Lewis & Clark's Pachyderms Club, and the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's.
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy 3 Martini lunch. Happy Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL here. Jamie Allman here and Ashland over there. And I am so happy to have Josh Grasser in the studio with me. You guys have heard me talk about Grasser Electric, Grasser Home Services. Call Grasser.com. And Josh and I have been talking quite a bit of late on a couple of different levels. And we were also off the air reminiscing about how the Grasser family and the Common Sense Allman Radio family came together through our mutual friend, Jeff Hansen, who is the late, great Jeff Hansen, who we knew with Hansen's Tree Service. Chad now runs that operation beautifully, by the way. But Jeff was the one who introduced us all then to Shane Grasser, who actually Josh Grasser is now, his oldest son is now running Grasser Home Services. And then Rick Pogue and Arrowhead Building Supply at the time. So it was just one big happy family out there in God's country. And so I'm really so happy to continue on with this this relationship. And I got to tell you, when I tell you guys about the electric side of home services, I tell you, I'm not kidding you. Put together a list of things you guys want done and you need done, that something's been bothering you all this whole time, and get it taken care of. Like that loose outlet that's been driving you crazy for 5 years now, or you got that ceiling fan in the hallway that's been there since Christmas time, right? Or you have some special thing that one of your kids wants, like with Lily, it was this lighted mirror that she took a fancy to. They had a lighted mirror on it. I had a porch light blow off during the wind for some reason, and I live in like some kind of wind tunnel, and just all those little things. And so I went ahead and made sure to get a hold of Josh and Grasser Electric to get that taken care of. Sean, and I'm going to put the pictures up on the website, on the Facebook page tonight. But Sean, who's the guy who usually comes over, he's the guy who almost ate a wasp on my behalf when he was doing some pool out of the electrical pool. He even has a picture of it. But Sean's a great guy and has been helping me out for years now. And so he, the late, great Tom, actually was the one who I originally had through Grasser. You know him?
Yeah.
You knew him, Sean?
Yep.
Yeah. Josh. So anyway, Sean came out, took care of it. I mean, it was fast, too. Like, he's blick, 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 and you know, Natalie is so happy that her outlet now, the things weren't falling off of the outlet. It's the little things in life. Josh Grasher, welcome to the show. I also had Jake on the plumbing end come over because I needed something fixed. The toilets were running and all this other nonsense. And so I had the plumbing experience and the electrical experience all in 1 week. And, of course, it was great. I'm Google reviewing you guys. And so thank you for the opportunity to once again experience the Grasser expertise, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks for the support.
Yeah.
We're happy to do it.
Yep. And now, of course, you guys know with the storms that we had and everything else. And, buddy, that picture. So Julie was out and about in the storms the other day, and she took this picture of the beautiful sky, and there was the Grasser billboard in there. I'm going to put that up on the page today, too.
That had to be perfect timing. I think that's a digital billboard, so
wow.
That image isn't up there for very long. So
oh, wow, yeah.
She had to catch that at the perfect timing.
Yeah, I know. It was really cool. And so on the other side, too, now I'm having the Grasser plumbing side of home services come out to a client of mine's home because they need some help with a water heater pipe and all this kind of stuff. I think you guys came out again a week ago or so for something else. And so I've been really experiencing you guys, and the company has grown so much, and I think it's great.
Yeah, you're getting the whole shebang. We've taken care of some electrical stuff and plumbing stuff for you here in the last several weeks. So.
Yeah. And so this plumbing side is new, but you guys are still hustling. And again, people, the wait times on these things really not that bad. Katie, is it Katie or Kate?
Kate.
Kate will get you on the schedule, get you going. And again, there's no job too big or too small. You guys also do commercial, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We do construction, residential and commercial.
Yeah.
We'll do some commercial service work as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good. How's Barrett doing, by the way? You know Barrett, right? People, yes, you do.
He's great. He was bummed that he couldn't make it today. He asked me when he found out I was coming. He asked me if he could come, and he's got map testing this week.
Okay,
so
yeah.
He's preoccupied.
Yeah, good to see you. He says, yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, people. Also, after the storms that we had, that were really rough over the past 2 days. All I could think about, because I don't have one yet. I should probably get one. Just because of the power outages where I am, kind of in that Richmond Heights area, all these trees and stuff, power's always going out there. But that backup generator is pretty valuable.
Yeah, they're great. They and you don't have to have an overhead service to have your power lines taken out. It could happen down the line. A lot of overhead power lines everywhere, and something down the line could happen.
Yeah,
and take your power out too. So it's good to be prepared.
Yeah, and these backup generators, they're pretty discreet. And you told me the last time you were here that they come in different colors and everything too, right?
They do, yeah. They're custom. I don't know what the wait times on some of those could be, but you can color match, match your siding, match whatever you want.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's super cool. And so you guys also have an apprentice program, is that correct? Or you're hiring? I mean, you're always wanting new plumbers or new electricians.
Yeah, we're always looking to make our team better.
Yeah. Now, are you Shane? Is he still totally involved in the company, or are you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were taking over. I thought you.
No, he's 100% involved still. We run things together.
Yeah. So is he? You have an office there? Is he sharing any of his animals with you, or you got to get your own now?
We kind of split that. He's got more of that in his office than I don't have enough room in my office.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Shane, I talk about that because I going out to see him every once in a while, and you go into Shane, they're avid hunter. You guys are all an avid hunter family, right? Yeah. And so Shane's office has all these taxidermied animals. It's like, I always say it's like going to the zoo, except everything's dead, basically. So it's fantastic. So the website, callgrasser.com, right?
Yes. Yep.
All right, Josh. Thanks so much for the experience, brother. And you guys need to get a hold of them, and you will love the experience and the expertise. And also, basically, like even Jake, they come in and they always put their booties on, and they're very respectful of the property. The trucks are all labeled. They've got uniforms on, and they're sweet guys, too. So that Jake's a nice guy. I met him for the first time the other day, young guy, and a good kid. He was showing me pictures of his I think he has a Corvette or something there. I think he's a blue Corvette.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, he was showing me pictures of his Corvette on the way out. So, but they're great guys, and the service is fantastic, and it's thorough, and nobody's camping out in your house. They just kind of clip it off. They get the job done, and that's how it works, and they make things work for you. Callgrasser.com, callgrasser.com. Josh, thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Say hi to Barrett for us.
I will.
All right, that sounds good. That is Josh Grasser, callgrasser.com. So I'll put some pictures of my boys up on the Facebook page today, later on tonight, and Julie's picture as well that you got to see to believe. Coming up next, well, another friend from the old days who continues to be a great friend from the new days, Rick Pogue. This is Common Sense Radio.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, another one of my sponsors, Noel Buckingham. He's going to be in on Monday, so mark your calendars, and he will tell you all the ways that he is going to make your home pest-free and wonderful for you. So here's the deal. This is around that time of year when termites are all running around. They're all kind of getting all excited and ready to eat up your home. And I've dealt with this before in some of the real estate realm of my life, and you just don't want to get to a point where you're finding out about termites after they've been there for a while, because that means damage. That means forced repairs if you're selling your home or whatever, but it also can be destructive for you in many ways, shape, or form. So you want to make sure, I mean, even on decks and things like that, it could really, and the damage can happen fast. So Noel Buckingham will come out, he and his team will come out and make sure to eradicate the termites. Now let's talk about the yard, because it's getting there. We're going to be May 1st pretty soon. And that's when we're going to start. And you guys have already been out on your decks. Maybe even you've already opened your pools or whatever. Maybe you're sitting outside in the backyard. And so far, it's mosquito-free. Of course it is. But just wait, because come late May and June, the mosquitoes are all out in force. They're all right now, just gathering everything else and feeding their babies and getting ready to eat everybody. So here's what you got to do. Noel Buckingham will come out and get rid of these mosquitoes once and for all. And I'm talking about the tree treatments, everything, the bush treatments, you name it, stuff that you're not going to be able to cover with your big fogger off can or whatever. And I'm honestly, you don't want to keep spraying that toxic stuff all over your skin anyway. Let Noel Buckingham and his team handle it for you as well. And let's go back inside when it comes to the ants. Ant problems are starting too. They're starting to they're practicing marching through your kitchen right now, and eventually they will. He will be able to find out the original places where they're hanging out right now and get rid of them once and for all. BuckinghamPestControl.com. That's BuckinghamPestControl.com.
Steph's Pizza. You know the name. They're famous for their St. Louis-style pizza. But don't forget their party platters for the holidays. Steph sandwiches, pasta, and pizza are always big hits at any get-together. And the party platters make it easy. 3 great locations, St. Peter's on Juggerman, in St. Charles on Zumbel, and their newest location in Lake St. Louis at 111 Pondfort Trail. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com, Steph'sPizza.com. And remember, tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
I listen to News Talk STL on the app driving to work.
Download the News Talk STL app.
You got to get the News Talk STL app.
Love the app. Can listen anywhere in St. Louis.
And listen anytime.
News Talk STL right on my phone.
Anywhere. The Allman Report, sponsored by Santino's Cigar Bar in Imperial.
Is sweet in the belly of the beast, in the belly of the beast, and with her song in your heart, it can never bring you
Good
down.
afternoon, everyone, and happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. President Trump now taking some questions. He is hanging out with the Artemis II crew. You know, I'm thinking about this, and it's amazing, really. 3 days ago, is it 3 days ago? 4 days ago, he was almost shot. And, you know, let's just pretend that in your lifetime you had like 3 people visibly armed and wanting to kill you, like what that experience would be like for you. And 2 of those times, one of them actually shot you, and the other one was right outside the door ready to shoot you. I mean, and one was hiding in bushes ready to shoot you. Like, how many people would be able to, first of all, you'd be traumatized by it. You probably would want to kind of disappear a little bit into whatever it is. And President Trump is sitting there at his desk, and I guarantee you these whiny little baby liberals and Democrats, if this happened to like a Barack Obama, we'd still be talking about it 24/7. I mean, they'd be making statues out of him for him right now. I mean, this is and now already it's like nothing to see here, whatever, just a little assassination attempt, not a big deal, what have you. And it's just like, wow. And you know what's funny is the left wants us to stop talking about it. Mainly because they know that the guy who tried to shoot President Trump is a Democrat just like them and talks just like them. Somebody mentioned to me today, you're being divisive. I said, I'm really sorry. I should be apologizing to you about the 3 attempts on the president's life. I'll keep praying for you. I know this has been a really hard time for you. Seriously. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Rick Pogue. How you doing, brother?
Hey, my friend, how are you? I was just listening to what you were saying. I don't even call it rhetoric anymore. It's hate speech. And, there's many reasons the left, the Dems, the left in general don't want us talking about this stuff. It doesn't bode well for them in any way. Like you said, it's one of theirs. They do all this anti-gun nonsense, but they like guns when they're aimed at President Trump, apparently. They enjoy that. They don't want us talking about it. They think now they're accusing him of making a lot of this up in an attempt to salvage the midterms. I mean, there's no limit to their idiocy.
Well, or to build the ballroom. It's like, you got to be, you guys have, How do you possibly sleep at night with that kind of attitude towards everything? And the thing about this, Rick, and we established this. I established it Monday, so this isn't anything new. But I think what they're trying to avoid is the obviousness of the fact that this guy who wanted to kill President Trump and members of his cabinet has things on Twitter and has written things down and has said things that are exactly the same as mainstream Democrats. So they don't want to. They would rather him just be some sicko, weirdo, whatever. But the reality is he's as mainstream as it gets for the Democrat Party, and they just can't stand that.
No, they can't. They love saying that our side, the Republicans, the crazy right, are the ones that are full of hate, and we're the ones with the guns. We're the ones trying to shoot and kill people. It's them, and the more that truth gets out, the more paranoid they become, I think. We're at the point now where something has to be done. I don't know what it is, but they don't even want to tone it down. I mean, you heard Hakeem Jeffries doubling down on what he was saying. They're all, Kimmel's doubling down on what he said. They are fearless, and they're out in the open, and they don't even hide it anymore. They just tell you what they really think. But then they project it onto us somehow, which is kind of like a magician's trick.
Yeah, like we shouldn't talk so much. Now, I do realize, but people say, well, President Trump said this about that person or this about this person. President Trump has never talked about somebody being a threat to democracy, even though we're a republic, or talk about the existential threat of another human being, or talk about how somebody needs to be eliminated and everything else. And the worst it's gotten, apparently, what the media says is he called the media the enemy of the people, which most of it is.
Yeah. Well, the MO for the Democrat Party is basically, as far as I can see, to make it to call for someone to be killed, just throw out some horrible rhetoric, which is ending in terrible actions now. There are people out there that are, like President Trump said, they're not stupid. They're just crazy. There are some intelligent people out there that are hearing some really bad things and running with it. Well, to you and I, it doesn't make sense because you and I grew up and were taught to think for ourselves. There are some of the smartest people in this country that don't know how to think for themselves. They do what they're told. They do what the machine tells them to do. And that's the people that are becoming the dangerous ones to people like us out there. Something has to be done. I mean, I don't know what it is, but they're not looking to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. So you were out of town. You were in Key West over the weekend when this happened. So were you like? How did you hear about this, and what was going on? What was the mood of the people where you were hanging out?
Well, I'll tell you what. The truth of the matter is, we were back at the house getting ready to go out to Duval Street, and this news broke, and I never left the house. I stayed there. A couple of guys went out. I stayed there and watched this all night. So I didn't get to really interact with too many people down there after the fact, other than the next day. But no one really likes this who has any sense at all, or any common sense at all, or sense of decency or anything. Nobody really wants this, except the loony faction of the left. And the problem is the national media carries water for them. So, like I was saying earlier, they can do a horrible thing, commit a horrible act, or say something absolutely horrible, and then deny they did it, knowing that the media will carry water for them and back them up. And it's a dangerous formula, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, I agree. And, I'm thinking to myself, although it's interesting, because a lot of, like, even when I watch or review The Five, and Jessica Tarloff, all they really do is repeat something they take out of context with President Trump has said, but there's no condemnation of the actual attempted assassination. Like, there's no condemnation of it. And what's interesting is the whole darkness and kind of death-loving end of the left. Like, even when you looked at, I said yesterday, when you looked at Jimmy Kimmel's joke about the expectant widow, and he was trying to say that it was somehow because he's older than she is and whatever. But the reality is, even still, talking about if somebody had said Michelle Obama as the expectant widow, the world would have collapsed.
Oh, Lord.
But if you look at the people, it's not just Kimmel, though. The people that I fear the most are the people who were clapping and laughing at the joke. And there were hundreds of them in the audience. It's kind of like the View audience. And so you're thinking to yourself, these are the people, these people are wandering around. These people are out there in the wild. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they are in the wild, and they're malleable. You know, they're easy. Their thoughts are easy to be shaped. They believe whatever the Democrat machine tells them to believe. And people that cannot think for themselves are the most dangerous people in the world, because those are the ones that can be so controlled by really stupid stuff, stupid information, crazy information. And when they start saying things like, you know, he's an existential threat to democracy, you've got to take him out, somebody goes, I'm going to take him out.
Yeah.
He has to be stopped. And that's what happens. There isn't a lot of intellectual dishonesty on the left. Alan Dershowitz is about the only one I've seen that's intellectually honest about things, and he wants the Republicans to win the midterms, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what I'm noticing, too, is it started to kind of divide itself. The hate part of the Democrat Party started to kind of divide itself into sections. So you've got, on the one hand, the politicians. You've got the Hakeem Jeffries with his fat Albert accent and everything else. And you got him and those people, those gunslingers, and 11 Ham Omar, those people. And then you have that subsection of the podcasts like Hassan Piker and that one witch on the other podcast, I can't remember what that one is, all kind of really intermediatingly feeding taking the elevation of the hate from the Democrat Party and passing it out among the hinterlands. And then you have the media, which is platforming a lot of these intermediary podcasters and commentators and people like that. So this syndicate is kind of in divisions. And then, of course, you have the people acting on what they're saying, which they know is going to happen. And they figure if they just keep repeating it enough, somebody is going to take action. And invariably, we've had 3 of them do that. In fact, I think we had 4, because one guy was shot at Mar-a-Lago. He was shot dead at Mar-a-Lago with armed. And maybe even 5, since there was a guy who tried to take a cop's gun and said he wanted to shoot the president. But anyway, but those are the people that act on things that these people are basically disseminating. And I think that we finally got the proof of how that operation works with Cole Allen. Since we were able to see his tweets and his so-called manifesto and everything else, and basically just regurgitating, and in fact, oftentimes retweeting the words of not only some of these podcasters, but also some of the Democrats.
Yeah, and again, like I said earlier, case in point, Cole Allen. You know, he regurgitates all these talking points that keep getting tossed up and thrown around on the left. And there's no accountability. And, you know, I'm the biggest supporter in the world of the First Amendment, you know, and the Second Amendment. But there has to be accountability when you are talking to the masses, and there are that many low information people out there that just believe everything you say. So something has to be done. I don't have the solution. I don't like restricting freedoms, but it's endangering a lot of lives, and it's not okay. So somebody at some point is going to have to step in and make some changes here. There have to be more regulation, I guess, or something on the airways, I guess, depending on the audience size. I don't know how you do that. I just don't know the answer, but it's so sickening to me. You take God out of everything. You know, you take everybody's hope away, and this is over the course of the last, 20 years. And that's what the left has been doing. And the media has been right there complicit, going along with every part of it. And no matter how crazy the left gets, the media goes, okay, we'll keep that going. We'll support it. We'll spread it around.
Yeah.
You know, at what point, does something go off? And we're about there. So something has to be done.
Well, this is, when I think about the possibility of what could have happened, I think I figured out how, I don't think it was really the Secret Service person being a bad shot. I think what happened is it's turning out that I found out before the show that this guy who was dressed like John Wick, he wore a red tie, everything else, took a selfie of himself in the mirror, had some wire clippers for some reason. But when he was running, it appears that he might have tripped. And that put him down on the ground as the person was shooting, and that might have been why the person missed, because there were some people mocking some of these Secret Service guys. Oh, they need to go back to the range or whatever. And I'm thinking, I think maybe now that I know that he tripped, he might have tripped and miraculously avoided getting shot.
100%, and that's what I'm hearing too. And from all the evidence I'm hearing, it sounds like he did trip. His body was going faster than his feet would carry him, and he tripped, and he would be dead had he not tripped. But you know what? A lot of other people may be dead too.
Oh, I know.
He was going to go in there firing away. So, like you said, major crisis was averted. And what really pisses you off, Jamie, is the left looks at that like nobody died. Let's just turn the page and move on.
Yeah, I know.
And it's maddening.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I really am thankful too, because I'm trying to think, man, what if it were like five guys, with automatic weapons, with machine guns or whatever you want to call them. What if it were like five of them? I mean,
well, the crazies are looking now, and next time there will be five of them. They're always looking for that weak spot, and there has never been a better example of a need for the White House ballroom. If we don't build it now, we are just absolutely stupid. So it's going to get done, and the left is just evil for not supporting it at this point.
Yeah, and you mentioned something really good there, Rick, because I was kind of like thinking Iran must have looked at this going, we could have done that, and we could. And we thought they probably thought there was just going to be such tight security there because all the cabinet members were there, which I really don't want them doing this anymore. Don't go into restaurants with the entire cabinet. These dinners with the entire cabinet, I just think we're asking for trouble that way, just because if something happens, then we're done, But
I'd say it, but you're exactly right.
Yeah, it's like when he went into that one time, it was like a few months ago, they went into this restaurant and immediately these pro-Palestinian people stood up and basically screamed at him. They're 5 feet away from President Trump. I hardly saw any Secret Service, and he had everybody in the cabinet with him. I'm thinking, oh, Lord, this is just not going to work out. All right, quickly on the economic front, since you're our business guru, how's everything going? How you feeling about it? I know gas prices are still high, and I don't think that's going to be for long. But
oil's back up to $100, and the Dow's down 1,000. But again, it's a roller coaster, and those who understand economics understand what's going on now. I'm not going to abandon President Trump because I know what all this looks like once we accomplish our goals in Iran, which we will, and once we pull out of there, what this means economically to this country long term. You're going to see oil prices plunging, and you're going to see gas prices plunging, and everything's going to be wonderful. And I think that could happen I'm sure that could happen by the end of the year, because I think he wants to get out of there definitely within the next month or so. Iran's playing hardball, and they don't even have a glove.
Yeah,
they have nothing to battle with. It's funny to watch,
Well,
and to see the left talk about, look at all the leverage they have. They don't have any leverage. They are in a box with nowhere to go, and now their cash is drying up by the minute. So I feel confident about everything. Prices are going to go up. The market's going to reflect, what turmoil is going on in this world, and that's what happens. That's why oil prices went from 84 the other day to 107 now. But again, just hold fast, just hang in there, Give this a couple, 3 months, and everything's going to be completely different.
Yeah, and I think too, and this is coming from the Wall Street Journal, so it's interesting for a while there. The media is reporting things, and it's predictable how they're going to report it. MSN Now is going to say that we're losing the war. Fox News is going to say that we're winning the war, and so I think we are. But but you still have to. Everybody's so predictable. The Wall Street Journal. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? And call him back if you can. It's okay. He said he lost me. Huh? You there? Hey, buddy.
Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me? Yeah, just call him back. That's fine. So what I was saying though is that the media it's gotten so boring, to tell you the truth, because depending on the media outlet, what the news is going to be. So on Iran, you go to CBS. Well, maybe not CBS. You go to ABC News. You go to MSN Now. You go to CNN, and President Trump is back on his heels, and Iran is winning, and they're more powerful than they were before, and blah 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 blah. Or you turn to Fox News, and Fox News is saying, "Oh, we're winning. This is no problem at all. It's whatever." So sometimes, believe it or not, even though I have no love necessarily for the Wall Street Journal, but the Wall Street Journal is reporting, Rick Pogue, that Iran is pretty much on the brink. Like they're like a string away from collapsing. And so I hate to kind of use the Wall Street Journal as the bellwether for credibility, but usually the Wall Street Journal is very skeptical of the Trump administration and everything else. But even they're kind of admitting that Iran is really just a hair split away from collapsing.
Yeah, and I'm the same way with the Wall Street Journal. I get the same vibe from them. They have to be, Jamie. I mean, they're gonna be out there, peddling things in the streets pretty soon. I don't know what they're gonna do, but strangling them economically is the smartest thing we can do right now. We've disabled their military completely, which was brilliant. Now you just strangle them. At some point, the people of Iran are going to have to take this over, take initiative, and take their country back. It will never again be this weak. And if they don't do it now, they're never going to do it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think it's going to be a situation where it's just a matter of time, and we shall see. The president is always underestimated, and they're always wrong about these things. I wish we could go back, and we will someday, maybe at the end of President Trump's term, and be able to provide a pretty healthy list of all the times that people completely doubted President Trump and his approach to things, and how often actually it turned out that they were wrong. And if they were weather forecasters, we wouldn't ever watch them again. That's the bottom line. All right, buddy.
It goes back. Yeah, it goes back to them being 2 steps ahead all the time, and people never figure it out till after the fact.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, so again, how is the hideout going? Somebody was asking me about that the other day. And I was talking about the burgers and stuff like that. So how's the This is the great weather for the hideout and the patio, right?
This is, and the big secret I was holding in was we actually ripped out and replaced the entire Sunset patio about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it's all brand new. The entire patio is all brand new 6-inch reinforced concrete. So it's just it's more beautiful than it's ever been before. We've added a couple cool things there for people to enjoy and take part in. Of course, the food's amazing. Can't say enough about our food. Now, this Friday, we have Friday, May 1st, we have the Well Hungarians. So that come out for that. Yeah. You'll want to see that. And then May 2nd, the next day, we have Super Jam. So
nice.
We've got 2 big bands this weekend, and if you've never been to the Sunset Patio at the Hideout for a big band weekend, you need to come. You don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, the Well Hungarians are impressive, man. They've been around a long time, which is great. I mean, they're kind of vintage St. Louis, really.
Yeah, we've wanted to get them for a while, and Ashley, our manager, and Lauren, our assistant, they were able to work it out and make it happen. So it's going to be a party this weekend. So come on out there, like you said. Our burgers are second to none. Our pizzas are phenomenal. Our wings are legendary. We have a brand new menu that we just launched too that has some really great new items on it. Sunset chicken dip and stuff like that. So yeah. Come on out.
Sunset chicken dip. What's that all about?
So there's a sunset dip, and then there's the hideout chicken dip. So there's actually two dips.
Oh.
But they're very, very good. The new one's the hideout chicken dip.
Nice. I love it, man. All right. Well, good deal. And I would come down this weekend. I'm gonna come down eventually, maybe even next week or something. But I'm going to North Carolina this weekend for a quick trip. But have fun. Hope everything goes great. I'll see you down the line on the other next week, maybe at the hideout.
Yeah, holler at me. I'll host you, brother.
All right, brother. All right, good talking to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. That is Rick Pogue, ladies and gentlemen, on this beautiful Wednesday. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report. So, 11-hen Omar is not well, maybe she is the dumbest member of Congress, but she's got a competitor now. So we'll follow up on that. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
They wanted to close up the strait again, as they've been doing for years, and they can't blackmail us.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Gemini Wealth Group, the GeminiWealthGroup.com, and I am talking about 5 really well put together people, more than 100 years of experience in investiture, in pension management, in retirement portfolio management. 5 people. It's like having the stars of the galaxy all coming to your defense as you retire, and making sure that your golden years are truly golden, making sure that the investment strategy, and they have really a special approach to diversification of your investments at the Gemini Wealth Group. So it's proprietary. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but they do this, and it's really something that very few people do, but the result is always the same, and that is you are living off of your dividends instead of cracking into the main part of your portfolio. So you're living off their investment genius. That's what the goal is, and that's what happens. And so they make sure of that. And then also they look into planning for you. So the idea is you're living 20, 30 years after retirement, sometimes even 40. The last thing you want to do is sit there and see if you can find some cash in the folds of the couch at the tail end. That's not the plan. Proper planning is important. So they talk about, for instance, what are they going to do about travel? Like, do you have dreams of traveling? Some people want to go to Europe or do whatever. So they want to make sure that you're able to travel and make sure that that's all accounted for. Medical bills, housing bills, all kinds of stuff. Some people wind up ultimately wanting to help send their kids to college or help their grandkids buy a new house or whatever it happens to be. They can include all that. All you have to do is let them know what your true retirement dream is, and the Gemini Wealth Group will make that come true for you, and then also give you that permission slip to go ahead and retire, because the reality is some people, you're getting that paycheck, you're doing that, you're so used to it, and it's hard to kind of separate yourself from the paycheck. That's perfectly understandable. But when you are knowledgeable about how easy it's going to be to live and enjoy your golden years, you will get that permission slip and you're on your way. The GeminiWealthGroup.com. That's the GeminiWealthGroup.com.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Hey, Mike Ferguson here, and for nearly 40 years, Nutrition Stop has been St. Peter's trusted source for natural living. They've got a great, knowledgeable staff offering more than just products. They provide guidance on your wellness journey with exceptional service. From 100% grass-fed meats like elk and bison and local produce to quality supplements and clean household products, 4101 Mexico Road in St. Peter's, just off the interstate at Cave Springs and Highway 70.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill. On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
The story behind the story. Video showing police beating Rodney King and the LA riots started on this date.
Larry Connors, USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8.
On News Talk STL. The Allman Report. Sponsored by the Walner Home Selling Team.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Well,
I've got a pig at home in the pen and the corn to feed him on. All I need is a pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone.
little Doc Watson for you, baby. Why is it so funny, Ashton?
You know Yankee Doodle?
Huh?
Yankee Doodle?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started singing Yankee Doodle to this.
I'm a Yankee Doodle. Good old Doc Watson and Bill Monroe. I have this really great video. I posted on Facebook a long time ago, so it's still in my little Facebook Reels thing. And Lily, who's now 16, is like, maybe she was about 4. Yeah, probably about 4. And we're sitting outside the house, and I'm videotaping us singing the song together. I got a pig at home in the pen. And she was so cute. To post that someday. Good old Bill Monroe and Doc Watson, of course. Doc Watson sounds different than Bill Monroe. Bill Monroe, they talk about that high lonesome sound, right? And there's a documentary called High Lonesome Sound, I believe. And the high lonesome sound actually is the high-pitched voice of Bill Monroe. You know, the people in Appalachia back in the day when they would sing, the people back in the day, these individuals, usually the women were the ones who sang, and the guys played the instruments, and that's how it worked. So Bill Monroe, as a kid, was growing up listening to his grandma singing mostly, and so that's why he's got that high voice. Bill Monroe always talking like this. So we always sing with a high voice because he learned to sing from the women in his family, and that happened quite a bit. And so that was good old Appalachia back in the day. All right, so yesterday, of course, we revealed to you that 11-hand Omar is not very intelligent, and she did the whole World War XI thing, and they were joking around that she must think King Charles is King Charles the 111th because she doesn't get the Roman numeral thing. I guess in Somalia they don't do that, Roman numerals, but, even Somalian numerals wouldn't be. Anyway, we still wouldn't get World War XI from, but anyway, then people started joking around because Ilhan Omar is the first letters of her name. If you capitalize them, capitalize the first one with I and then L, it'd be 2. So it'd be 11-hand Omar. So that's kind of funny. And, yeah. Oh, I'm sure offensive to all the liberals out there, racist and all that stuff, right? All right, and I'm dying to figure this out. I don't think there's any, real quickly, I'm trying to figure this out. So we're watching King Charles and Camilla go to the 9/11 War Memorial, and for some reason, Mayor Bloomberg is the one hosting them at the War Memorial, and Mamdani is nowhere to be found. And I'm trying to figure out why that is. And I'm not suggesting any nefariousness or whatever, but it is a little confusing that Mamdani, the mayor of New York, would not be with King Charles and Camilla at the War Memorial. That's just something I'm confused by, and maybe somebody can answer it for me. I know Mamdani was down in D.C. At one point, so I'm really trying to figure out what is going on with this whole thing. All right, back to dummies in Congress. So this is from Ocasio-Cortez, and this is so, I don't know how, I think for some reason, some of these people, Ilhan Omar and maybe even Ocasio-Cortez, I'm wondering whether or not people just haven't questioned them or gotten into them or corrected them ever. Because that's what happens kind of when you're spoiled and you're just kind of vomiting out stuff and nobody would, nobody's like holding you to account or anything else. That maybe that's it. And, Donna says it's 13 years since the great George Jones passed away. Yeah, 13 years, yeah. 13 years ago, I went to Nashville for his funeral. What a time. What a day. I'll talk about that someday. I forgot all about it. It was April 26th. But I think around this time I was going to Nashville. All right, anyway. So Ocasio-Cortez says this because she's all against these corporations and anything else. This clip is from last year, but it's still, since we're kind of collecting evidence of dumb as a bag of hairness from Congress, we felt like it was necessary to reminisce on this one here.
Rivers in rural areas were on fire because of corporations poisoning the people who lived in those areas. Poor middle-class communities getting poisoned and dumped on by corporations like Deloitte and 3M, pouring chemicals into these places. And they want to call it a Democratic priority.
Yeah. So she said Deloitte. So Deloitte is an accounting, consulting, and tax service firm. And I'm trying to figure out how an accounting, consulting, and tax service firm would be dumping things into the river so that it would be on fire.
Rivers in rural areas were on fire.
I'm trying to figure out like what an accounting firm would be putting into the river that would make it start on fire. I don't even really know what 3M would be doing, but I'm assuming that there might be chemicals made and used to make some of the 3M products. But she was so sure of herself that Deloitte was causing rivers to start on fire.
Rivers in rural areas were on fire because of corporations poisoning the people who lived in those areas.
Yeah. Maybe Deloitte was dumping some of the ink from their fountain pens that are used to do their accounting into the river. I have no idea, but that's kind of where we're at. I don't think anybody really is holding these people to account. And you wonder, because it's the stuff that comes out of their mouth. You're thinking, do your aides ever just say, "Hey, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't do that right now because it sounds like maybe it's not this or not this." I mean, these people don't seem to have any advisors or people who are taking good care of them or in any way, shape, or form. So, all right, folks, I want to see you. Hopefully you'll be there on tomorrow. This is going to be at the Lodge de Pere. And it is the Road to Zero Income Tax Town Hall featuring Mike Ferguson, who's going to be moderating this. Ben Keithley, an awesome state representative. And Senator Nick Schwar is going to be there as well. All you have to do is RSVP. afpmissouri.com, afpmissouri.com, and you will be there and get your ticket and everything else, or just get on the list there. Thank you, Ashlyn. Tony Colombo and Company, next.
Tim Jones here to introduce you to your new favorite roofing company, Corel Roofing. There were 4 major storms last year. Did your roof take a hit? Do you even know? Most homeowner insurance policies require claims to be filed within 1 year, so time's running out for a closer look. At Corel Roofing Company, you get a local roofing specialist